from the point on purification. And one of the things that is unique about this particular text is why I love it, and I would like to see as many of you as possible like really master this text. Like if you make this a goal, that you master this text. I won't say that you'll master Islam, but what I'll say is you won't need to do a whole lot of other stuff unless you're interested in specializing in a particular area. Because this text covers the range, it's comprehensive. So it covers the practice of Islam, what are the ritual practices, it covers what is faith, so you have all three of these dimensions in this one text. And the crises that we have in front of us, oftentimes in many communities, is that we don't have enough knowledge. And what we have oftentimes, we find ourselves dealing with bits and pieces of information, not even knowledge. So for example, if you have a fatwa that someone gives about a particular matter, that's a very limited thing because the fatwa emerges from a question. And if the sheikh or the scholar gives you an answer, he's giving you a limited perspective that is really dealing with your issue, right? Unless, then there's different types of fatwa, right? So you have a general fatwa, which is meant to be broadly understood and possibly applied. And oftentimes, people like ourselves that are not necessarily mujtahid imams, people that this is what they do. They're like Supreme Court justices. Where they study the law and they know the law, right? And the interpretation of the law. You want to know the answer to a question. During Ramadan, if you have a particular physical issue that may interfere with you fasting, and you ask someone, well, what's the ruling on doing this? They're going to give you a very specific answer. Now, that answer is not for everybody. So your responsibility is to understand that. So you can't now set yourself up as a sheikh or sheikha and start issuing your own fatwa because you heard a piece of information about a particular issue. But this is really a serious problem. Right? So you have this manifests itself in so many ways, particularly in the modern world. Because what's made it even more complex in the modern world is now we have these devices. Some of us don't even want to talk to nobody because we really don't want nobody telling us what to do. And that thing is really the state of our heart, our ego. I don't want nobody telling me what to do, so I'm going to talk to the machine, do a little Google search, and you will literally find any fatwa that you want. We are actually living in those days. I'll give you an example, right? So someone sent me an article recently, and across a lot of college campuses in the United States, there's an effort to normalize Islam. Some folk want to move Jumu'ah from Friday to Saturday. They made a whole argument, they got into the linguistic meaning of the word Jumu'ah really means just congregation. And when we talk about definitions, right? If you recall, I've always taught you that there are two types of definition. There's a lingual definition, and then there's the legal authoritative definition. And in the area of fiqh, in the area of law, we go with the legal definition. Because sometimes there's consistency between the two definitions, oftentimes there's not, like the word salah. If you interpret the word salah or if you define the word salah, according to language, salah simply means prayer. And so there is someone, I mean, I have academic connections, and there's a Muslim, and Allah guide him back. He wrote a whole thesis on that salah as we observe it now is unnecessary because it's not found in the Quran, the movements, the rak'ah. So we can actually go by the lingual meaning of salah, which means to pray, and everybody can just pray the way they see fit. Even though the hadith says, you know, ruku', sujood, takbir, taslim, you know, forget all that stuff, because now we have to question the hadith, and it's just, you know, part of the problem of modernity is that we feel that now I think we would all agree, in here at least, that it seems as if nothing is sacred, right? And that is one of the banes of secularism, that like nothing is sacred. Like there are things that are sacred, and the tradition is sacred in the sense that it's narration from the Prophet about what Allah told us to do and not do. So it's sacred, right? So, you know, but the article was about moving Jumu'ah to Saturday, right? Why? Because most people, when they come to Jumu'ah, they have to take off work, and it's an inconvenience, and they're not really focused on the khutbah, and then the khatib usually is boring, so people come into Jumu'ah to sleep, and it's really not a meaningful engagement. So the question that emerges is, why we gotta move Jumu'ah to have a meaningful engagement? Let's have a meaningful engagement. First of all, let's fix that. Let's fix how we show up to Jumu'ah. Let's talk about that. Because there's a way that we're supposed to come to Jumu'ah. Like, we're not just supposed to run the way we run to work and run. No, we're supposed to prepare ourselves to come to Jumu'ah. Right? So that half hour, that hour can be meaningful if we make it meaningful. But this is the time that we live in. So the benefit of this text is the more you study it, and this is just an introduction, inshallah. The plan is for you to have a certificate of completion. I'm stopping short of calling it an ijaza, only because you would need a little bit more rigorous engagement with the text, and that's possible for those who may want to explore that. But you'll have a certificate of completion. Doesn't mean, and I'm telling y'all this, I'm telling you in the vernacular, I want none of y'all hanging up no certificate of completion. My name now is by way of Edward Wayman, right? He told us this and that, because I'm gonna come after you. Right? No, this is for your own personal growth, your own personal development, and for brothers and sisters. You have groups, you know, some of you are active and you're teaching people who may be new to Islam. You can use this as a text of instruction, and it's very, very good. So with that, this is a unique text for a unique way of life, which is Islam. And one of the things that we can agree with also is that Islam embraces every dimension of our life. Every dimension. Politics, social life, married life, single life, business, education. It encompasses everything, right? And so that means that we should not just do stuff without understanding why we are doing those things. Because that means if it embraces every aspect of our lives, that means we have to understand that we have to make life modifications, right? And the word change sounds heavier than modification. That's why I'm not using change, because change can be overwhelming. The moment you say to somebody, but I need to change that, that's a stress inducer. Here we go. Or you have to change. It's a pretty heavy word. It's true, right? Because nothing will change unless we change, but modification is softer and milder because it means you can make adjustments. And the adjustments are not always big things. You know, sometimes people are indoctrinated into Islam in a way that they believe that they have to throw out everything about them. And you are who Allah brought to Islam. You. So it doesn't matter what your name was, or what corner you lived on, or what your mama's name is. That doesn't matter. Right? Allah brought you. Right, so the modification is tweaking. You tweak your understanding, you tweak your approach, right? And so if we accept this premise, well, as we move through this next portion of the text, we want to look at now the 5 pillars. So the question is, what is the value, or if you wish, importance, of the 5 pillars in our lives? And the 5 pillars being Salah, Zakah, Sawm, fasting, the Shahada, and Hajj. What is the value of these 5 pillars? So we're going to engage in discussion together. Fathima's name right there?
Yes.
Okay. Not gonna touch that. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So you and Naima, inshallah, will talk to each other if that's possible. Okay. So we're doing them pairs, and the brothers. So yeah, 3 and 3. So Ronald, Vernon, and Daoud, and Brother Muhammad Abdulaziz, and Hakeem. So the 3 of you talk. Again, the question is what? What is the value of the 5 pillars in our lives? We'll take 3 minutes.
I know. So this is
What is it? You keep asking.
that's the part of
That's the definition. That's what you Yeah, but once you do that, then what do you do?
Is that part of the 5 pillars? All important.
Okay, that's it. Okay, so we got the 5.
The testimony like anchors for this is that plural?
Yeah, that'd be a pillar.
Because there's another anchor something. Anchor in your heart. You'll know.
What did we say about this?
That's probably.
Hello? Yes.
Oh, I like that.
Let's stop without getting specific on each.
Where are you at?
Code. What's the importance of code?
Okay.
Why should we follow those codes?
But that's not his question.
Yeah, that's
His question is, what's the value of this?
I'm trying.
What's the value?
What's the value right there, you know, value, importance, of them. That's in general, you know, not specific. What's the value? Why should we follow those five codes?
Like spiritually.
Well, I think, okay, we said the first, okay, what's the value of the shahada?
Go in.
Okay. So to me,
Or do you make
the
connection?
value of it is understanding, you know, that there's only one God, right? And we have one example.
Because you know, you always say stories.
It's all over the
problem.
They
So,
came back from time.
I just want to replay it.
You
The value of the shahada,
are covered.
we know
Or
that there is only
it's
one God.
transformation.
And that to know that God, we have to follow the messages that he sent. That's right. But the value
Okay,
of
we have
the value
Salat,
of it is
Zakat,
the significance of what the judge did.
right.
You know, you value your car,
What do you have for
you
profit?
value your bank account. Right? You use that particular thing as a tool. The car takes you from one place to another.
Well, that's
The money that you spend, you so this is
Pretty much going to
the first
what
form of the
That's interesting, huh? Yeah, well, it's kind of like, you
It's
just kind of,
appreciation.
you really know the
I know, I just this weekend, you know, someone was going to let's have a stop.
You hit it right on the head. Because
Oh, for sure, you're on the top of my list, top of my list, one of mine.
for
Right.
So how are we making out?
I was like,
We ready to share some answers?
but also, it was like, no, but you know, you're right.
All right, so we're gonna get some feedback now. And what I would like to do for the person who's giving feedback, I'm gonna ask you for one word that captures. But, yeah, so one word that would describe.
You say so.
And then if it sounds like a word that we need to unpack a little bit, we'll do that. Okay?
So one word that would describe.
Your answer. One word that would describe your answer to the question, what is the value of the 5 pillars in our lives? Okay?
All right.
So I'm gonna start with Hakeem. You and Abdulaziz were talking, so give me one word.
Well, we came up with anchor, being that we call it 5 pillars, like the anchor.
Anchor. Excellent. Okay, Tiffany and Aisha. Who we all talking about? One word, and I mean one word. Academicians need to understand one word.
Oh, wow.
One word.
It's for us, right?
Togetherness, one word that I've heard.
No, one
So
word.
this is what I'm talking about.
So.
Word.
Okay, balance.
Balance. Okay. So Hakeem said anchor. And you said balance, excellent. Okay, Vernon?
Hold on, now we just changed something all of a sudden here.
We were saying
Vernon,
direction.
you and Ronald were talking, so one word.
For the three of us.
Oh, the three of them, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So Vernon, one word,
Direction.
direction. Very good. Okay, over in the corner, you know who you are. One word. What happened? Cyclical? Cyclical?
Yeah. I'm being bullied in the typical, I had different words.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you, so cyclical meaning what?
So we said that the 5 pillars are all things that you should be doing on some kind of, either a time frame, so minute by minute, in terms of like belief, day by day, salat, once a year, fasting, and once in your life.
Okay. Oh, okay.
We weren't
Okay.
agreeing on that, we just wanted to remember what cyclical described it.
You what now?
No, mind.
So, okay. Sister, what's your name, guess? Vanessa and, Ayana.
So we had transformational.
Transformational. Excellent. Elaborate a little bit on that?
So we talked about how each of the 5 pillars, once we focus and we really put everything into meant to cause some kind of change. And a change that's ongoing and a change that happens every, like, especially we talked about Hajj, and how people go to Hajj are either awaken or their faith is deepened, but it leaves you changed. Just our relationship with God leaves you changed.
Very good. Sister Anita?
Sajida.
Sajida, yes.
Roots.
Say it again?
Roots.
Roots, okay. So that's sort of like, anchor. Okay. Very good. So now I'm gonna ask from one of the sisters and one of the brothers to your experience with the 5 pillars. How has it been, any of these things for you? Now we can talk a little bit. How has it been anchoring? How has it been rooting? How has it been a source of direction? How has it been a source of regulation? Roots or transformation? Any of the systems?
Well, I think, for me, you have to take a shahada and, learning about what I had to do, given instruction what I had to do. For me, it made it the route to give me the direction that I needed, like to pray 5 times a day, to learn about fasting, Hajj, zakat, and the importance of all of these things, and to make the modifications in my life, or the changes that had to be done, because without the pillars, it would be nothing. That's what I'm talking, just, just living, just normal, not normal, but you know what I'm saying, just don't have the remembrance of the law. So these things are ingrained for me personally as the remembrance of what I have to remember.
Okay, I'll come back. So one of the brothers, same thing. Speak, elaborate a bit. You had your hand up first, so you want to go ahead?
Okay, we said direction.
Well,
The
you guys, yeah, you said direction.
we said direction, so the 5 pillars begin with the Shahada, points us in a particular direction, and that direction is towards our Lord, and knowing who our Lord is, and the things that we have to do to gain access, or to gain nearness, or to gain purification, to gain a regulation for our moral selves. So those 5 pillars, they all they all contribute to making us people who can become good people. In brief, I'm looking at it from that particular direction.
Alright, so what if you haven't taken Shahada?
What if you
How
have?
would you answer this question if you haven't taken Shahada? You have to think about this before you answer it. How would, so you both share Sister Sardia, very good answers, right? But if you were a person who was already Muslim,
Say that again.
if you were a person who was already a Muslim,
You are a person who was already a Muslim.
So you mean,
the way you are now.
how come
I
it's,
don't understand that.
you're saying you already Muslim, you born into a Muslim family,
Right,
you're a
yeah.
child, so assume that you didn't take the Shahada?
I didn't say that. I said, what
Well, that's what I'm trying to get clarity on.
if you are already a Muslim? Is there a difference
Between,
the person who takes the Shahada and the person who is born a Muslim?
I think there is a difference.
I think I'm just trying to, because I never believed in Jesus.
You said what now?
I never believed in Jesus as a child.
Okay now.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. There you go.
I'm really, I apologize,
No, not at all.
because I just never did.
Yeah,
And no one could explain to me the questions that I asked,
right,
because I just didn't believe.
right.
And when I found out about Allah,
Mhm.
I knew that I must be, this is my religion,
Mhm.
because it answered for me
Right.
what my question was.
Subhanallah.
So I'm not answering your question, of course.
No,
but-
you are actually, because there's no like right, I just want you to think differently about the same questions.
So when I asked questions, they were like, you just need to believe that there's the Holy Ghost. I said, there's no Holy Ghost here.
Mhm.
He's believing, Jesus is believing in a God,
Mhm.
that, why do you go to Jesus to go to God? Why don't you just go to God?
Right.
And my questions were like, girl, sit down.
Mhm.
And so I never believed
Yeah.
in that. So to me, Allah has always been my God.
Mhm.
And so prayers, I'm sorry, I'm just going on.
No, because I think you're getting at an answer to the question.
And so Allah is my God, so I trust in Allah, and prayers help me transform when I'm troubled, when I'm at a loss,
Mhm.
and when I'm sad or I need to cry. I may not be in a space where I can pray,
Mhm.
but I may pull out a bead
Mhm.
and just sit somewhere
Mhm.
and just say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, and believe it, I will calm myself down
Mhm.
by just doing that. So that's may not be a lot at that moment,
Mhm.
but Allah's my direction. And so I may have made many mistakes, but I know Allah is my God, and I know that I believe that I'm a chosen one to be a Muslim. I'm sorry.
That's all right. So Fatima, then Aisha, then Tiffany, Hakeem, you had your hand up?
Oh, no.
Oh, just the sisters. Y'all don't want to open up?
I'm sorry.
All right, come on, brothers, it's all
I
right.
just,
This is a judgment-free zone.
much of the tea I was drinking this morning.
All right, so Fatima, go ahead.
It was two things. One, in answer to your question about the difference between being taking Shahada and being born into Islam, I think there's an added mercy for people who take their Shahada that they have those previous things wiped away, versus the person who, and all of us, I don't know if there's a point of consciousness for the person who was raised in some way, start to choose where, if anything similar or any portion of that happens. But that whole kind of like a rebirth, like you're born, and then you have and then I guess this life continues, whatever, which takes me to the part of the conversation we were having about the cyclical nature of it, that it literally, the pillars of Islam shore us up at every span of our life. So the minute by minute, the belief, how you look at things, the day by day, there's a lot like breaking it up in the different times of our day, just that just give you that support, from hour to hourly basis, like in your daily prayers, like fasting during the month of Ramadan, or the fast that you do, the ritual fast, the fast that you do during the different months in the year, and then, paying the zakat once a year, and then Hajj, like the aspiration to make Hajj like at once in your life, like it's shoring up for us. This is spiritual lecture.
So maybe I want to say what I was going to say, but since we call me out, I'm just going to say it. I think because I was responding in a lot of ways to what Vanessa said about Jesus, and because I was born Christian too, I was born into a Christian household and a Christian family, but I have like a serious consciousness of a transformation in Christianity in the context of my environment and what I would say is American society. So that the Christianity that I was raised in is very consistent with Islam. So my grandfather, who was a Baptist minister, never made this confusion around Jesus as other than a prophet. And so, but as I grew older and the televangelists started showing up on TV, is where I would say that confusion actually comes in, where people begin to worship Jesus as opposed to worshiping Allah. And so for me, Islam is the same religion that I was taught by my grandfather. It's the monotheistic tradition. And so in that, very much of a relief. And so, like you said, that the 5 pillars provide balance, because you are in a continuous space where you remember Allah. And even if, you didn't make that salah before the end of the day, it's in there, it's in your brain, you gotta get that done. If you didn't read the Quran today, it's still in there, you gotta get that done, so that part of your being that's a soul is always called in relation to the Creator, and so balance with what we really are.
Very good.
To answer your question, as far as like convert and warning and whatever, I think that
Warning.
Yeah.
Bernie.
No, I know what you said. That's very.
I've read this, I think earlier in my conversion, that basically the difference between those two groups is basically, or not the difference, but the jihad against yourself for the two groups is different, and one is more challenging than the other, just like the jihad between a poor person and a rich person, right? So sometimes people have said that's an easier jihad for a poor person to be still thankful for Allah, for the things that they do have, than a rich person to not be arrogant because of their wealth.
Okay.
And for a Muslim convert, that jihad is okay if you do have this transformation, so you're not, like this, that you do kind of not, to some extent, you do blindly follow your parents to a certain, in some people, like, if like this is what you're raised in, you're just kind of like, I don't know, and you kind of go with doing that. If you had this kind of conscious transformation to wait, hold up, that's wrong, to go against everything that you ever thought that was right. That is to know, okay, now my mom is going to be all this tension. She, you know, and me and my mom had beef when I converted, but like you had like that kind of conflict, and that's kind of something that you have to go through as a convert. But if you're born into it, it's basically saying, okay, you're born in the right thing. To stay there, to appreciate it, is a different jihad, which is probably more difficult here. And so I think that in both cases, the 5 pillars is still the skeleton. It's still the, like you said, that Islam touches all aspects of your life. This is still the basically the synopsis of that point. It's touching your money, it's touching, you know, your time, it's touching, you know, your life plan, how you kind of go about framing your life. When we say, if we convert if we translate the word deen into religion, it's not exactly one-to-one, it's a way of life. So in either case, it's the same. It's just the, I guess, application of it comes from 2 different struggles, I guess.
Very good. So, to frame this a bit, right? So we are engaging a little bit in a theological question. So the theological question is everyone born Muslim or not? Because what you said, Sister Vanessa, and what Aisha said, okay, so there's an answer to that, or answers, because there's a difference of opinion about this, right? And it impacts the nature of what we view Islam as, right? Because if everyone, or another question could be, is everyone born with the inclination to Islam? Because the Prophet ﷺ said what? That every person is born upon the fitrah, which is this natural state. And what is that natural state? What is the fitrah? There are different discussions around this term, but the hadith says that the parents or the environment make them a Christian, a Jew, or a Magian, right? And the Magians are the fire worshippers of ancient times, right? But that is not to be interpreted as Christian, as we understand Christian, only because there was a time when Christianity was Islam. Okay? So we're talking about a really big question. Right? Because,
At a time where Christianity was Islam.
Christianity was Islam. So Jesus was a prophet that was before Muhammad. Right? So we have to look at what Islam means, and what it means to be Muslim, to answer this question in a broader sense, because whether the convert or the bornie, can I use that? You didn't trademark it. Whether the convert, my kids might think I'm cool if I use that. I'll call them bornies. Whether the convert or the born Muslim, you know, everyone has this reality of who they really are, right? And so the good thing about your answers, the 5 pillars do the same thing, whether they may do it in a different way, right? But whether you're a convert or whether you're a person who was born into the religion, because in reality, and you hit upon it briefly, Tiffany, when you said you blindly follow what your parents do, you know, my experience has been that that's exactly what you do. Because if your parents are doing what they're supposed to do, they're going to teach you to pray, they're going to teach you to believe in Allah, believe in the last day, and these things may have no tangible meaning for you in your life, right? Especially when you're really young. Feed you halal, you know, dress you up a certain way on the Eid, and all this stuff. You become of age, if you're female, they may put hijab on you, all of this stuff, right? But the missing part for the individual is that they have choice. So the person has to make that choice, and on the basis of that choice, the 5 pillars now become this anchor, this balance, the direction. Yes, sir.
No, I just wanted to give my answer. I said it was anchored, and when I started, I looked at it from like the foundation of the Shahada and I guess the creed and all that, because even if you look into history, when people first introduced Islam, they first had take a Shahada, didn't know who Allah was, didn't know how to worship or what they were worshiping, and so it was gradual first. That's the foundation. Then you have other blocks added to it after that. So without that, all the rest of them are just, I mean, it's like Christian can fast Ramadan, but it might just be solidarity. It's not. It doesn't mean anything to them as far as worship is. You have to be like Muslim whatever you're about. You can't validate unless you become Muslim.
Right.
So that's what.
Yes.
Person that's born into Islam doesn't have to take Shahada.
Well, that's a legal question. Excuse me. That's a legal question. That's a question in law and fiqh. There's actually a discussion about that in fiqh. Does the person who is born to Muslim parents, when they become of age, do they have to take Shahada?
I think that it happens, because I talked to, I won't say friends, some of my friends in the MSA who come from Muslim families. And I say, I'm like, oh, my Shahada anniversary is coming up.
My Shahada what?
My Shahada anniversary. I'm just giving you a
okay, okay.
And they're like, they get so excited for me, like, oh my gosh, it's just this. I'm like, my one friend, she's from Malaysia, and it's like one, madhab there, everybody, like, I guess in there. So she's just like so mesmerized when people convert. She's like, and I'm religious. And it's just like very intrusive, but she means well. And I'm like, I feel like every person who identifies as Muslim has the Shahada anniversary. It's just, if you're raised in it, you don't necessarily recall, like we were saying, the transition between blindly following your parents who are doing the right thing and saying, I accept this as the truth. Just like if I was raised to be a racist. When I decide, yeah, racism is right, then I'm taking that on myself. So it's the same thing. If you're raised to be a Muslim and you make that decision, I feel like a lot of times when you have a visual depiction of the 5 pillars, it's like a foundation, and it's Shahada, right? So if that means nothing to you, then it all means nothing, right? The house of cards.
Can I add something?
So we need to leave. So unless it's like really, it's gonna blow us away.
It might depend. Because, you mentioned, the difference between, a person who's a non-Muslim and